So then, Ashley, Saturday, I saw this. How's this for a stat? It was our first league win since we played Harrogate back in March. So we haven't won a game since the clocks went forward. What were your key takeaways from that game at Crawley on Saturday?
I think looking back to a week ago as well, the main thing I wanted to see was a proper Newport team. You know, getting stuck in, physical, aggressive off the ball, a good press. And I was, after the Notts County game, I left there feeling quite energised, to be honest, about the season. And yeah, that was multiplied after yesterday's game against Crawley as well. It was brilliant. It's been so long since I've seen Newport win away, and that was the topic of conversation. To be fair, leaving the ground, there was a few people that I was talking to, and none of us, I don't think, could remember the last time we've seen him. I wasn't at Harrogate, so yeah, a lot of the people I was speaking to couldn't remember the last time that we actually won a game away. So to come away with the 3 points, particularly against a side that were a bit battered and bruised from the weekend before. They definitely, came out with a purpose and a bit of drive. And
I was going to ask about that because I mean, it seems like it's the third game now that we've had Barnet, Notts County, and Crawley, where we've not had it all our own way. We've been kind of under the cosh, but we just seem to be in this knack of like taking a lead against the run of play and then kind of kicking on. That's been a feature of the season.
I mean, for me, it comes down to organisation. If you look at last season, I don't particularly think we were that organised defensively. I think Townsend has a lot of praises from me, to be fair, that he was quite pivotal to us towards the end of the season, and particularly at the beginning as well. So I think this year it's a different formation, it's a different style, it's a different attitude, and a different way of looking at the game, which I quite like personally. And as a Newport fan, you just want to see a team that gets stuck in and a team that you can actually get behind. So yeah, it is pleasing to see, but I think organisation is the key. Defensively, we are looking very solid, and I think on the counter as well, we've got some great pace going forward and players that can pick out a pass. Like Matt Smith yesterday. So
yeah, well, I mean, we'll come on to the goals in a minute, but just on that point about our resilience and our organisation, I mean, the big topic of the summer, certainly on the podcast, was, I was obsessing about this need to sign a midfield bastard, someone who could control games, and we haven't really done it. But the talk seems to have been, and I've not seen the team play live in the flesh yet, but from everything I've read and everyone I've heard, the talk seems to be that we've been using Cam Evans as one option to do that in midfield, and that Liam Shepherd looks like he might be able to sort of fulfill a role there. Did you get a sense of that on Saturday, that they might be able to step up and do that job?
I mean, Shep was playing at right side of centre half, I think, for part of the game yesterday. And yeah, I think those types of players could step into it, but are they really what we need? I don't think so. I still think we need, like you said, a big bastard in the middle. But unfortunately, the currency for League Two is physicality and aggression, and they're not cheap. They don't come by, very easily and very often. So, hopefully the club have got their eyes on a few players, particularly in that role. I'd like to see a striker as well, personally. An out-and-out number 9, I think, just to complement and supplement Baker Richardson. But
they're even harder to come by than midfield bastards, right?
Yeah, but I mean, the midfield, we talk about inexperience. It's experience. Matt Smith is a very experienced player. He played for Wales. It's, for me, it's just the physicality of it. You look at Smith, you look at Antwi, you look at
Whitmore was the other one yesterday, wasn't
he? Whitmore adds a lot of aggression into it, to be honest.
Too much sometimes. He's a walking yellow card, that man.
2 yellow cards in 2 games, but I don't mind it. I don't mind a bit of that. So the old Newport grit and steel, innit?
Well, and talking of Whitmore, I mean, we've got to mention his goal because it was a lovely through ball and great timing for the run. I love watching the replay of it. He's pointing exactly where he wants it. The ball goes there. First touch takes it perfectly away from the keeper and then slots it in from the angle. I mean, what was your view like of that?
I mean, like I take it back to last season. A lot of the play was quite slow. The build-up play was slow, and it wasn't that often we saw them break lines really quick. So it was great for me watching. Ball from the back into Matt Smith, broke the midfield line of Crawley, and then a simple through ball breaking the defensive line of Crawley into Whitmore, and it was nice to see that straightforward, play into space, play beyond the defensive line and the midfield line. And yeah, it was a fantastic little finish, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That's,
just as that was, a lovely, skillful, easy on the eye opener. The second was like watching Newport County under kind of Mike Flynn. Long throw in from Jenkins into the box, flick on, and then a nice easy finish for Shepherd. But we seem to be making that our trademark now.
yeah, the second goal. Garner obviously the week before, exactly the same. Jenkins in the box, little flick on, and then a good little finish. And yeah, yesterday was no different. That is a strong point. I think Crawley probably should have defended it a lot better than they did. And I think they'll be kicking themselves over that. But at the same time, it's a weapon that we've got in our arsenal that we use, and we've had it over the years with Demetriou, Pipey as well. There's a long history going back of Newport players that have got a good throw in the box.
Yeah, I mean the trick is to kind of use it sparingly, I suppose, and
Yeah,
not make it every time you get a throw in over the halfway line, just chucking it into the box.
yeah, but it was like yesterday. I mean, I think it was the very first throw in we had, attacking where we were, the away fans. Crawley are all set up. We're set up for the long throw, and I think Jenks just dropped it back into one of the midfielders to change the angle of it. I think he played it into Smith, who then put a ball in. And sometimes you've got to change the angle. There's a different way of setting up as a team, as a defensive unit. If you change the angle, like a free kick, for example, and it's exactly the same from a throw-in. But it's a great thing to have, and something that we'll reap the rewards, I think, this season from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I've got to ask about one other thing because it was another game where Joe Thomas, people felt maybe he'd struggled a little bit despite being one of the rare kind of bright sparks from last season. What did you make of his performance? And equally, when Ogunya came on, did you think he made a good impression?
For me, I think Joe Thomas is he's getting there. I mean, physicality wise, he's not there for League Two, in my opinion. He's not entirely blessed with pace. He's quick, but he's not someone that that you'd look at and think he's absolutely rapid. He's not. And I do fear sometimes that a lot of the teams that we've come up against have targeted that side. Perhaps that'll be different when we get Clark back into the team and Shepherd will go into wing back. Yeah. It's one of those. He's a young player. He's come from Swansea, and last season did particularly well. But yeah, he just looked like he was struggling a bit yesterday. I don't know whether it was the amount of time that Crawley had the ball. I don't know the amount of times that they kind of focused their attack down that side, or whether he was just up against a strong opponent. I don't know. Obviously, he came off injured, so perhaps that was something that was niggling him perhaps throughout the game. I don't know if he picked something up early on. I didn't quite see, but yeah, I think he'll take time to kind of get into it. And let's not forget, he's a young lad. It's he was thrown into the deep end last season, played a lot of minutes, and thrived from that. But also, a tough preseason, a new change in manager, a different style of play. Yeah, he's still young, so yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, you've got to allow for some inconsistency. It's just that, he seems to be having this difficult run, and hopefully he can put it right sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
My last question for you, Ashley, is just to kind of zoom out a little bit. So, I mean, what are your broader hopes for the season based on what you've seen so far?
I'll be honest with you, I was bricking it again. A bit of inexperience in David Hughes. He's not managed in the league, but from what I've seen, I've been really impressed. And I think the additions of Pats and Ken's has been fantastic in the team. And I think, broadly speaking, I think that's where we're seeing the organisation that we lacked last season defensively. The organisation on the ball, and different players in different positions at different points in the game across different parts of the field. Like it looks a lot more organised and a lot more structured, shall we say, as opposed to last season. That's I imagine 100% down to the coaching staff there. Broader hopes, first of all, let's stay up. We're not. I think we're looking at how the first two games have gone. I think we'll be looking a bit higher, but I'll be happy with a mid-table place, to be honest with you. As long as we don't get dragged into a scrappy relegation battle, I'll be happy. And I think all Newport fans will be as well, to be honest. I mean, Hugh Jenkins said in the fan forum that, again, it's another risk with young players and inexperience, but it looks a lot more promising this season. I'll give them that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll have you back on before the season's out, and you can tell us whether those hopes have been revised upwards or downwards. But thanks very much, Ashley, for your time on a Sunday, and we'll catch up again soon.
Lovely. Thanks, Ed.